Hello, and welcome to Living with Intent. In this episode, I'd like to take you through the process of getting started. And if anyone is sitting on the fence, or if you want to get there but you don't know quite where to start, this is that video for you. This is not about being on a ketogenic diet, but it's eventually going to get you there. Some of you who might want to just jump straight in and get into a ketogenic diet, I'll make another video where I explain being in a state of nutritional ketosis, why I feel certain things that people say are keto are not, and so on. But this video is more about keeping it simple, your first step into becoming healthier and losing weight without going kind of on the extreme side. So that's what this video is about. Now, before we can talk about the actual diet and what you can and can't eat, I think it's very important to know the reasons for why you're doing this. You need to be convinced you're of your own accord. You need to have your own motivation for why you are doing this. It could be because of health. It could be because of weight. It could be because of both. Whatever that is, that motivation is, you need to have that very clear in your mind. What I do for myself, there's many motivations I have. One is, of course, I don't want to be on medication for any point of time. I mean, I don't take medication now, and I certainly don't want to get to the point where I'm reliant on some medication. In fact, I don't believe in medication. But you know what? Maybe there comes a time when, as you get older, you just feel that that's sort of the only recourse you have. So, and before I started down that path, I was thinking like, that's not where I want to be. I don't want to be dependent on people, but I don't want to be dependent on family, dependent on my children. I don't want to be a burden on them, so on and so forth. This is a long way away, but I'm thinking now, I'm starting now. I wish I knew this, 20, 30 years earlier, but I didn't. And so as soon as I've learned it, I've decided to take some things in my own hands. Yes, maybe, I don't actually have faith in medication. I don't. And there's very little evidence to say that one should. No matter what the doctors are telling you and what they're claiming the medications do for you, there's nothing that has cured anyone of anything. And most of the chronic diseases that we suffer from are incurable because of from medication. They're incurable. They're actually curable by changing your diet. So my motivation really was, I don't want to be sick in any form or fashion. I want to be mentally fully capable, meaning my brain, I do a lot of thinking. I'm very creative, and I'm always thinking about new ideas. My work requires me to be kind of on the ball, and I want to continue to be able to do that, to use my mental faculties in the way I'm using them today, and continue to use them in other areas, but in the same fashion, at the same level. Physically, I want to be fit and so on. So that motivation for me, I have this person, my future self, that's standing out there looking back at me and egging me on, or giving me the motivation, saying you can come here, you need to be coming here, like to this spot, which is a fully mentally capable self, physically capable self, not a burden on anyone, not a nuisance for anyone, and certainly not dependent on anything except for good food, the right food. Some people think, given the way I live, my lifestyle in terms of food at least, and the fact that I hardly ever eat, they think that I don't enjoy eating. No, I enjoy eating a lot. I enjoy the food I eat. I relish it. But I have a different relationship with my food. For me, it's not about, I don't live, as you know, I've mentioned this before, I don't live to eat. I eat to live. What I eat, therefore, I enjoy because I know it's good for my body. And over a period of time, that's become sort of the habit. Like with everything else, the food eating is a habit. What you like and what you don't like is a habit. And you need to realize that part. You might miss, certain food that I tell you can't eat or should not eat now. That eventually that desire will disappear. But you need to sort of stay true to the reason for why you're doing this. Okay, having the motivation and having the right motivations for the right reasons, you're certainly set up on the path of improving your health or losing weight, or both. Let's talk about food. You need to get off the grains. You need to get off milk. You need to get off sugar and oils that are what we would call cooking oils. You need to get off cooking oils and fruit. I'll go into the details of all of this, but that's the high level. Off the grains, off the milk, off the sugar, off the fruit, and off the oils. So that's 5 things. You need to get off these 5 things. If you're vegetarian, sadly, that's, you're left with the very few things. You're left with the beans and the lentil and other vegetables. As a non-vegetarian, you can have all the meats, eggs, fish, and the vegetables. When I say vegetables, I'm talking about the non-starchy vegetables, so typically the green vegetables. Now, there are issues with certain vegetables, more issues than other issues. So like, certainly, potatoes are not good, so you want to get off the potatoes. Just stick to the green leafy vegetables. No carrots, no beet, no tomatoes. You can have the onions, you can have the garlic, you can have the ginger as part of your cooking, if you will. If you must have the fruit, I can give you like a whole set of reasons why not to have fruit. But if you must have the fruit, you recognize a few things, okay? The reason you like the fruit is because it's sweet. This was one of those things that I realized. I realized I had a lot of addictions, if you will, to certain foods only because they were sweet. So I liked my coffee because it was sweet. I liked my this because it was sweet. I liked my cereals because it was sweet. Sugar and sweetness are addictive. And they've shown that sugar is more addictive than cocaine. So you can imagine what that does to your brain, as in how you are so addicted and therefore you want to keep having it. So recognize that there are addictions. It's not that you like them because you're addicted to it. But if you can keep in mind that things like fruit are not healthy, and it's not just that they're not healthy, they damage your liver, and you also have high blood pressure and a bunch of other things that are a consequence of that. So I'm saying don't have fruit. Now, if you must have fruit, keep in mind that you are compromising, or you're not going to get to see all the benefits that you should be seeing. And even weight loss, by the way, fruit makes you put on weight. For example, animals and even humans, way back when, caveman days and earlier, we would eat fruit to fatten up, so that fat that we've accumulated would help us go through winter when we would hardly find any food to eat. Animals do the same thing. Of course, we ate just before winter. We ate these fruits. We don't eat these fruits through the year. So even though fruits have been around, they've been smaller, they've been less sweet, they've been less edible. And those are the fruits that we used to eat. Nowadays, the fruits are extra large, extra sweet, seedless, and a whole host of things. So we are not talking about the same fruits. And unfortunately, we get them through the year because they come from all over the place. You got to recognize these changes in our modern lifestyles as compared to how we've evolved. We spend more time evolving than we are spend time in the modern world. So anyway, going back to the fruits. If you must eat fruit, stick to the berries family. Don't add anything to them, no cream and sugar, just the berries. And don't make it a habit. Honestly, the way to get off this thing is to get off. It's a habit. Everything we do is a habit. So if you can just wean yourself off the habit, you finally won't miss the fruit. So, grain and all grain products, all grains and all grain products. Milk and all milk products. It's not like cheese is okay. It's not. It's not. So on the one end, people will say on the ketogenic diet, for example, you can have hard cheese. What's the sort of the motivation? What are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to achieve just weight loss at the cost of health? Or are you trying to achieve good health? And are you trying to achieve good health and weight loss? Right? You can be on a ketogenic diet that is unhealthy. A ketogenic diet is just saying you're in a state of nutritional ketosis. What you eat is making the difference between being healthy and not. So, if you ask me, all grains are out, all milk and milk products are out, and grain products are out. So essentially you're cooking at home. You're not buying a keto meal from some company that supposedly says our meals are keto and you pay them so many dollars a month and they'll deliver the food to your doorstep. Most of the stuff that I've seen is not ketogenic. All right. They are trying to sell. They are trying to make money selling you. They got your attention because they've used the word keto in there. But these meals are not keto. They don't keep you or don't maintain you in a state of ketosis, nutritional ketosis. This talk is not about ketosis, but unfortunately what happens is people think some things are good for you health-wise because it's keto, and that's not true. You could be in a state of ketosis, but eating unhealthy foods and that keep you in a state of ketosis, that doesn't necessarily make you healthy. On the other hand, this is the sort of the getting started aspect of this diet. It's not the ultimate, sort of nirvana, if you will, with regards to your health. This diet is also not about curing you of some disease. If you're diabetic, to sort of fix that. If you've got Alzheimer's, to fix that. If you've got arthritis, to fix that. It will certainly make huge improvements. But this is the simpler step. If you're trying to fix health issues with your diet and you're in a bad place, meaning you're very severely diabetic, for example, you need to take a lot more serious measure than what I'm trying to explain here as the sort of the getting started part. This is just the first step. All right, so getting back to the 5 things: grains, all grains and grain products, all milk and milk products, no fruit, no sugar, and oils, the oils in which you cook. So now let's start with the oils. That's, I think, simpler. For cooking, you want to cook in coconut oil and ghee or clarified butter. That's it. None of the other oils. No olive oil, and certainly none of the other vegetable oils. Coconut oil and clarified butter or ghee. And I'll make a video soon that shows you how to make clarified butter from butter. So those of you who can't find it anywhere else, you can make it on your own at home. I think the grain and grain products are simple. The milk and milk products are simple, as in not to have that. Sugar, of course, is sugar. Anything you feel is sweet, for example, even if it's, I don't know, can't imagine what it is, but if you find that your food that you're eating, that you're making at home, is sweet in some way, then of course there's some form of sugar in there. But I'm talking about table sugar and anything else that associate, like honey and agave and this and that. Just no sweet in terms of something that might be beneficial. There's no sweet that's beneficial. Now you might have things like stevia and other products that are substitutes for sugar. So I wouldn't actually start there, honestly. And there's a bunch of substitutes that claim to be substitutes that are not healthy, or they're not actually doing the job that they're supposed to be, which is they're not healthy, therefore they're not really helping. In time, you could have a stevia product or something that's stevia, but no maltose or maltodextrin or dextrose and all the O's. O's is a sugar, like dextrose, glucose, maltose. These are all sugars. Maybe you can have some sugar alcohols like erythritol. I'm not saying these are necessarily healthy, but certainly as a starting point, you can have something like this that doesn't have the same impact or effect as sugar has on the body. In case you want something sweet, each of these sweeteners, some sweeteners work in this and some sweeteners don't, and it's not like there's the one sweetener that fits all things. But really, when you're getting started on this diet, you want to wean yourself off of these things, right? The idea is not to find substitute, and that's the other big thing that I noticed for myself, and I recommend highly when you're starting down this path. Don't go looking for substitutes. Not just for sugar, for anything. For the grains, don't go looking for substitutes for grains. Don't go looking for substitutes for milk products. Don't go looking for substitutes for sugar and fruits or any of these things. The cleanest, simplest way to do this, to be successful, is to cut off and not look for substitutes. You will spend a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy, and a lot of disappointment looking for substitutes that are effectively not doing what they claim to be doing, or are impacting your body or your health or your weight in some other fashion, and you're going to get disappointed. For the time being, I'm saying look for no substitutes. Take these foods out of your diet, add the fat back. So you want good quality fats, such as coconut oil, ghee, fats from fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, tuna, sardines, fat from meats, fatty meats. So if you go to the store, you're probably going to get lean meats because that's what they sell in the stores. You want to go find a butcher and get your meats from them. What other meats are? And eggs. So you want to add more fat. So you want to cook in ghee and oil. You want to, if you're having breakfast, what I used to do when I started was I'd have 6 eggs. 3 were full eggs, whole eggs, and then the yolk from the other 3. So basically those 6 eggs I used, of course I didn't have the protein from 3 of them. I had 3 whole eggs and then the yolk from the 3 others. I had a lot more fat than a typical egg would provide, so double the fat. You want more fat. Fat is going to keep you satiated. It's going to make you feel full for longer. It's going to, of course, give you that satisfaction, the satiation that comes from eating, a good meal, and you're not going to get hungry. If you find yourself hungry in between meals, which is another part that I'm talking about, which is, this is my hypothesis. There's no study on this, but there's enough evidence pointing to this, which is why I feel what I'm going to say, which is, I think people in this on this planet are sick because they eat too often. Not because they eat too much, but because they eat too often. What is eating? Anything that's a calorie is eating. Our bodies have evolved to be fasted many times during the year for long periods of time, days mostly, and sometimes months. Our bodies have learned to prioritize eating or digestion of food over repair. Whenever food is available, that was the priority. Okay, food's available, stop all the healing process, let the person eat the food, then you can digest it, spend all your time doing that, and once the digestion is over, it starts the healing process. But apparently our digestion is never over. We're going from meal to meal to meal to meal to meal through the day, all our lives. The body's not ever going into a mode of healing. Our bodies have evolved to be fasted, and then they start to repair. But apparently we never get that chance to be in a fasted state. So when I say eat too much, I'm saying that people are eating, not only are they eating the 3 meals a day, they're also snacking, and they're drinking stuff that the thing is not a food. Anything that's a calorie is eating. As soon as the body sees calories, it has to start working on that. And as a result, you're eating all through the day. You could be a soda, even if it's just like a zero, was it like a Coke Zero or Pepsi Zero? I figured which one's got the zero in it. If it's not water, the body has to process it. And the body starts to process it. It stops the healing process and it starts the processing, the digestion process. So if you're hungry between meals, of course, there may be some component of a habit, right? You might be habituated to eating stuff like nonstop. So you might have to break that habit. But if you're truly hungry, you're eating too little. So have more in, let's say if it's breakfast and you're way too hungry before lunch, then eat more breakfast. If you're hungry between lunch and dinner, then eat more lunch. This diet, this lifestyle is not about quantities or calorie counting. This diet is about eating what you need to eat, what is right for the body. In other words, removing what's not good for the body from a weight loss standpoint or from a health standpoint, but eating as much as you want of the good stuff, right? Fatty meats, cook in ghee, coconut oil, and have the green leafy vegetables for the most part as part of your thing. No potatoes, no starch, no starchy vegetables, no sweet vegetables like carrots and beetroot and a bunch of other things. So stick to the green leafy vegetables as an initial thing. And the fruit, please stay off the fruit. The fruit is, some people think, I'm sort of paraphrasing here. Some people say, fruit is God's gift to mankind. No, it's not. Every living thing on this planet has a single purpose: procreation, survival of the species, and that's it. That's all they're interested in. Every species is solely in it for itself. Now there's interdependencies and such, but basically that's evolution, right? So there's some species that evolves because of the fact there's another species that it can be, eat and get its own sustenance. But every species is on this planet for its own existence. No species is doing a favor to some other species saying, hey, please come and eat me. And certainly plants and fruits are not. Animals have the ability to defend themselves by fighting, running, biting, and these sorts of things. Plants don't. Is that to say that they're defenseless? Is that to say that they are at your mercy because you can grab a hold of them and yank them off the soil and eat them? No, they're not. They will teach you a lesson, and the lesson is that they are masters in toxins. They are masters in toxins. And these plants and fruits actually have things in them that our bodies do not agree with. Now, we may not notice it. That's not to say you don't feel it or you won't eventually succumb to these kind of things. But if you must have fruit, stick to the berries. Don't make it a habit. You are trying to wean yourself off these things. So don't perpetuate them and then find that you can never give them up, right? You're not giving up anything. You're getting your health back. Think of it that way. You're gaining. You have everything to gain. You're giving up nothing. So I think I sort of said it all. Oh, and now what are you going to see as the differences, the changes, let's say? What results are you going to see and how quickly? Well, I can't tell you you're going to see this in first 2 days or first week or anything of that sort, because it depends on how unhealthy you are or how much weight you have to lose or whatever. But generally, this is what happens. Mentally, you have a lot more clarity, less brain fog, your mental capacity in terms of the ability to do this deep thinking. Some of us have to think a lot at work, and we need to focus for long periods of time. That ability is drastically improved. There should be hardly any time, and this might happen, in a week or so, right? It's not going to happen immediately. But within a week or so, you should start seeing that you have more mental energy. You have more physical energy. You're not sleepy. You're not hungry. Hopefully, if you're eating correctly, you're not hungry. And there could be other things that get fixed which you don't even know are a problem, like I did with my shoulder pain and my complexion. I didn't know they had anything to do with diet, and so I didn't know them to be problems. Some people have told me they had warts and things on their various parts of the body that disappeared. Others, skin is another big thing. If you think your skin is clear or smooth now, you'll find that it becomes smoother and softer, probably not in a week or so, but certainly over a period of time on this diet. If you have calluses, not because you're going to the gym or something on your hands, but just generally all your elbows. My elbows used to be calloused. I mean, I thought it was just, I'm sitting on a desk all day, I'm sitting like that, and it's got, it's going to give eventually. And I just thought that was part of aging, getting older, and abusing your elbow, for example, like, you're constantly sitting on something and it's bound to get kind of calloused. My elbows today are not calloused. They're smooth like a baby's. I mean, it's like, I'm shocked. Calluses are essentially a sign, whether it's on the elbows or on your palms or on the heels of your feet, are a sign of bad circulation or compromised circulation. Your capillaries are the first things to go. They're the smallest blood vessel there. It takes them no time to get damaged or blocked. When blood circulation stops at certain places, that skin dies and starts to thicken and harden. That's the callus. No amount of cream and manicure, pedicures and all that is going to help make things smoother. You can try it, and it's like a mental thing, I'm one of those people. I mean, if I keep doing something over and over, it's not working, I stop, because what's the point? But I know a lot of people will just keep doing it for all their lives. They have this mental thing about it's working. But if it's working, why is it not gone yet? By getting on this diet, you will see that your skin becomes smoother, your calluses will start to sort of fade away, if you will, depending on how long you do it, you'll find your calluses eventually will go away, but not in a week, maybe not in 2 weeks, just depends on how bad your situation currently is. The skin is an organ. It's the largest organ we have, and it's a very good representation of your internal health. So calluses Burst capillaries, and if you got like red or bluish marks, capillaries kind of showing through the skin, these are all signs of not being in good health. Those will all start to disappear. So internally, a lot of changes are occurring. Internally, you're losing fat. Internally, that is visceral fat. That is the fat around your organs in the cavity that we have in our chest area. And then you start losing the fat on the outside as well. So a lot of stuff is going on, improving slowly. I mean, remember, you've probably abused your body for, I don't know, like decades. I mean, how quickly do you expect the fix to happen? It happens way faster than you can imagine. But give it time. I typically tell people, if you're making a change, aim for 3 months. 3 months of a solid commitment to that diet. Do everything you're supposed to and do none of what you're not supposed to. And then you can take measures. So if you haven't got blood tests done, I tell you, seriously start. I mean, this was one of the mistakes I made. Of course, I can say it's a mistake now in retrospect. I had no idea I was coming down this journey. So there was no reason for me to document, to do anything before I started. I just happened on it. But if you're looking at this video and you've been inspired by other videos and you're looking at this one, I'm saying get your blood work done and get a whole host of blood work done. I can give you a list of things that you should get done, and then start. Then do it for 3 months and do it again. This is science. This is not my preference. This is not about what I think or what 10 other people think. This thing really works. So you're going to get healthy and of course weight. And when you besides weighing yourself, if depending on how overweight you are, you might want to measure like your arms and your thighs and your waist and your chest and all these different parts of the body so you can track it. And I'm not saying go crazy. It's not like you have to weigh yourself every day. Please don't weigh yourself every day. Just weigh yourself once a week. Weight changes through the day all the time. Just weigh yourself the same time every week, once a week if you will. And with the same thing, if it's an empty stomach, it should be an empty stomach. If it's right after you get up in the morning, then that's what it should be. Right? Don't change things on yourself. So the time should be the same and your state of body should be the same. But do it once a week. Weight will go away. Don't worry about the weight part. If you're true to this diet, the weight is going to drop. Don't worry about that. Now, if you ever feel, even though this is not a keto diet, if you ever feel like you're feeling weak or lethargic because of the lack of carbs, either you're not eating enough fat or you're not eating enough salt. All right? When you take the carbs out, you also got to put the salt in. You lose a lot of water. The body's not retaining any water now. With the carbs, it used to retain the water. Without the carbs, it's just flushing out the water. So a lot of salt is going out with your pee. So if you're feeling weak or not quite there, start adding more salt into your diet. I eat a huge amount of salt. There was a time when I would go out to a restaurant and I couldn't handle the salt. As in, my salt intake in my normal diet at home was so low that if I ate outside, I found it overly salty. Now, if I go out and eat, which is very rare, but when I go out and eat, it's like I cannot taste the food at all. I need to put a whole lot of salt in there. So this is a gradual process. You want to increase the salt slowly, but you want to do this, be cognizant of this. If you're feeling weak or fuzzy-headed or not quite there, you're lacking salt. So start adding more salt in your food. It's a gradual process. So just gradually keep increasing. And you'll find out one day, well, I won't tell you when you find out. It's just one of those things that I think people stop way too soon. Okay, I think that's enough. No, it's not enough. Add more. But today I don't want to get into the details of that. Just stick to what I'm telling you. And once you've done this for a couple of months to 3 months, and if you do your blood test before and after, you'll have something to look at. Something that is scientific, saying, okay, this is what I was before, this is what I am now. It's not about how I feel and this and that, how I think. Numbers won't lie. So if you want, I'll put a link to a bunch of blood tests that you should do. These are not, if you're in the US and you're on some sort of a health plan, they're not covered by your health plan. So, but they're not that expensive. But it's important to get these things done. Just some of these tests are the real tests you should be doing, not the tests that we get done typically on an annual basis. That's totally useless. So anyway, I think I've said enough. I'm hoping I've given you enough information to help you get started and enough motivation. Oh, and one more thing. Children. There's many people I talk to this, but they're children. And to me, that's like, it's a criminal thing to do. If you know better, why are you having your children eat a different diet? I don't see the point. They're healthy today, but they're not going to remain healthy. Listen, you got to where you are today with the food you eat. Where do you think they're going to be when they get to your age? Why would it be different for them? It's time that they change their diet early and not suffer the consequences of what you're suffering from, whether it's weight or health issues, eventually anyways. So it's time that you inspired your children also to change your diet, inspired your siblings, inspired your parents, whoever they are in your family, to make these changes and have a certain motivation for themselves. So with that, I'll see you next time.